Hey guys, how's it going? Eli here, back with another video where today we're going to be going over my top 5 strategies for going into a recessionary period when it comes to investing in Pokemon. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So as always, getting out of the way, you want to enter into our weekly giveaways, all you got to do is leave a like, comment down below, and be subscribed to the YouTube channel. We post pre-recorded content each and every week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I keep saying Thursday. I haven't posted a Thursday video because I've been so swamped the past couple weeks. I promise I have a bunch lined up. I just need to go through and edit it, so I'll make sure to get that out sooner than later. So as it stands right now, this week, 3 opportunities to enter, and then we're going to have 3 opportunities to win because we're going to have 3 winners that will each be receiving 12 Astral Radiance booster packs. So yeah, giving away a full booster box each and every week. So, but now that we got that part out of the way for the giveaway, let's get into today's topic. And this is an exciting one for myself personally. For those of you who have been following this channel for, basically since the inception, one of the biggest things I really preached about was, we're talking all the way back in August of last year, June of last year. One of the biggest things I really would stop preaching about was, be ready. End of year coming into 2020, I think this is where you're going to start to see the narrative shift, or I don't think the narrative's the right word, but the sentiment shift. You're going to start to see a lot of negativity, and more importantly, a lot more opportunity. And so I know for a lot of people, especially for those where money's tight, I understand it can be a little bit difficult. But even if you have a small amount of money, this is where it can actually be an opportunity for you in the long run, if you are someone who's interested in investing or even just interested in collecting. So we're just going to be going over kind of the 5 things more or less to consider / strategies and pointers that I'm going to be giving you guys. Of course, as always, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. I'm just some guy that gives his opinions and is knowledgeable about economics on Pokemon. So please take everything I say with a grain of salt. But jumping into the first point in general strategy, I've talked about this for other points on other videos, but find your time frame. That's, I think, the most important thing really to first and foremost consider, because a lot of the strategies I'm going to be talking about, or the next 4 I should say, are really all going to play a factor into what your kind of time frame is. And what do I mean by that? Are you someone that wants to flip? Are you someone that wants to play the medium term game? Are you someone that wants to play the long term game? Because you can play all 3 of these even in a recessionary period. You just got to obviously find the strategy that's best for you. Typically, people that are playing the short-term game, they're flippers, they're buying collections off of people. They're going and buying a new release for a product and then hoping that they can sell before a reprint happens. And then you've got your medium-term people, which they're playing the wave strategy, and we'll get into that later. I've talked about that before many times on my channel. And then lastly as well, you got your long-term. That's the type of people, they're like, I'm just not really focused on this right now. This is just extra cash I have set aside, and I'm going to just not look at it, not focus on it too much, and basically just hope that it does well over time. And the sentiment shouldn't be hope, but sometimes that's how it is. So that's what I would say is probably just kind of your stepping stone, or one of the first things really to consider, is what's your time frame, because these are going to be factors that are going to lead into the next point, or the next kind of strategy that I look at. And this is more of like a step-by-step kind of thing, is what is the volatility / demand for the item that you're looking for? And what do I mean by that is, so for example, I've talked about this many times before. I think that long-term, historically, we've seen ETBs have yielded a greater return than booster boxes. However, in regards to booster box value, the volatility is so much greater than elite trainer boxes. And so if you do the wave strategy, which basically means when a reprint happens, you buy in, and then prices, rapidly climb up, you sell it, and then eventually, you sell it right before reprint, or you just sell along the way. We can use Vivid Voltage as a perfect example of this. Obviously, if you had bought in on pre-sale for Vivid Voltage, I know it's not represented here, it can't go far back enough, but pre-sale on Vivid Voltage was at around $86. Price shot all the way up to $230. Then you got the reprint for it, shot all the way down to as low as $116, then started slowly climbing all the way up to around $150 plus. then it got another reprint, went sub below $100 on some sites, and then it slowly has been climbing up. So if you bought in at 90, sold at 220, bought back in at 120, sold at 150, I mean, even after fees, you're still walking away having made money. I mean, and there's different areas in which you're able to sell things. I've talked about this. There's consignment groups on, there's consignment groups or advertising groups on Instagram. You've got eBay that you can, sell your product. Same with TCG Player. Obviously, higher fees, but sometimes you'll get higher premiums. You've got Facebook groups. You'll be able to sell your product. So there's all different ways of doing it. But the point in which I'm saying with this is a set that is very high volatility. And for that reason, there's a lot of opportunity to invest in these booster boxes in the short term and really make money if you're constantly flipping. And this once again goes back to strategy of, short term to medium term, because I think honestly, when you're talking about playing the waves, I think that's very much a short term to medium term strategy, because there's so much more money to be made volatility wise in those short to medium terms, flipping booster boxes. Now, of course, if you're saying to yourself, well, I don't have time for that, I'm looking at more of a long-term game, then that's why I might, intrigue you to the fact of investing in ETBs, because ETBs long-term will do better, but that's because they tend to have less reprints than booster boxes. Booster boxes are a lot easier to reprint. All you have to do is reprint 36 packs. ETBs, you got to do card dividers, card sleeves, dice, then you got the 8 packs, then you got like so many different things that you have to print with these ETBs. Not to mention too, Pokemon Company, when they do their reprints, they focus on trying to drive the prices of cards down, and that's going to be easily or mostly accomplished by printing more packs, aka these booster boxes. So long-term person, I would recommend ETBs. Short-term, I would say booster boxes are probably your way to go when you're talking about making money. Now, one other factor, of course, if you are someone who is a long-term, that is important to consider is what's your kind of space? Because if you're saying to yourself that you don't have a lot of space, and this is for modern specifically, I want to make this clear. I'm talking about booster boxes modern. That's why I use Vivid Voltage as an example, because the volatility of reprints for modern. And so, we could apply some of these strategies to, vintage, but not necessarily for the majority of what I'm going to be talking about today. So I want to make that clear, because there's not reprints for vintage. So when it comes to, ETB investing long-term, you have to consider your storage too. If you don't have enough storage, then you can play the booster box game, because they're, of course, going to be a lot easier to store. Or if you want to, you can start focusing in on investing in some older product that's going to be, higher end, more expensive. But at the end of the day, it's going to be easier for you to store because of those things. But typically speaking, let's say you don't really have a cap then, and you're just wanting to sit on stuff, ETB, that's usually what my preferred thing is. If you are going for smaller storage, like I said, booster boxes, and then higher end other, booster box product packs, ETBs. But personally speaking, this is mainly focused on people that are going to be wanting to invest in modern, because that is what's most affordable for most people. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Consider your demand, consider your volatility. That's something that's very important. When, once again, we're building upon this foundation of your time frame, what you're trying to get out of this, what you're trying to look for. Which the next step or the next point to consider, we're starting to get into the buying phase. You're like, okay, I found out what my time frame is. I'm looking at the product that I want to buy. I see that is very volatile. I see there's a high demand for it. Now the question is, when do I buy? And I think that specifically when you're in these recessionary periods, I talk about not FOMOing a lot, but I think specifically within these recessionary periods, being patient is extremely important, because prices will go down over time. And being able to understand how reprints occur, I've talked about this many times on my channel. When reprints occur, it really just focuses around the competitive TCG format. Of course, when a set is in current standard format rotation for competitive play for Worlds, then it's more than likely going to have an opportunity to still get reprinted. A perfect example of this is just about every single booster box leading up to Worlds, end of last year, start of this year, got a reprint. We got Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, Chilling Reigns finally got their next wave. These are a bunch of sets that are about to go to rotation. Of course, it's not guaranteed every set's going to do it, because like Sword and Shield base and Rebel Clash, that didn't end up getting their reprints, but most other sets ended up having it happen. So that's where you look at these opportunities. If you tell me that you could have gone in and got Darkness Ablaze booster boxes for, you know, sub $100, same with Vivid Voltage, same with Evolving Skies. I was preaching on that for the longest time when it was sub $100. I was selling it for $96 on my site back during the time when I was getting it from my distributors like it was nothing, like just shipping it to me. It's one of these things where that's your opportunity. And specifically as well, for if you're a long-term investor, you know, that's when you're trying to pick up and being patient, because these sets are about to go out of rotation. Vivid Voltage about to go to rotation from the standard format. Darkness Blaze about to go to rotation from standard format. Of course, Chilling Reign and Battle Styles is not. So I would, you know, personally say from a long-term perspective, it's not the best play. I would say from more of a medium-term perspective. But if you're trying to say short to medium-term, I was preaching on Evolving Skies, because Evolving Skies got that reprint. And it's still in, you know, it's still in current standard rotation. It's more than likely going to get a reprint. So if you're someone who's short-term to medium-term investing, that's your opportunity to play the wave in the short to medium term on Evolving Skies. Versus if you're like, I don't want to play short to medium term, then, you know, you can go the Vivid Voltage Darkness Blaze route. And if you want to play Evolving Skies long term, you can totally do that too. I'm not going to fault you for it, because it's a super high demand set, so it's never going to be, you know, in my opinion, a bad pickup. But I do think you'll see a lot more of an immediate return on sets that are about to go out of rotation, that are still relatively high demand. Because Vivid Voltage, I mean, Vivid Voltage went all the way up to 230, 240 at some sites, I remember. Darkness Ablaze was pushing $200, but of course, Vivid Voltage, I'm a lot bigger of a fan of than Darkness Ablaze for obvious reasons. You can just go check out the set list and you'll see why. So Darkness is just Charizard. Vivid actually has more substance to it. So, you know, it's one of these things where basically being patient. If you're looking at this long term, wait for those reprints right before something goes out of rotation. It's very, very common. The Pokemon Company loves to do this. You know, end of a year, start of a new year, that's when reprints are most likely to start happening. You'll have your reprints sprinkled in here and there during the summer, and like kind of in the middle of the year, but it's not really heavily, there's not really as many heavy reprints unless it's for a current set that is, you know, in the standard format that is not going out of rotation. You know what I mean? So like a set, for example, like Alpha Radiance, you know, Brilliant Star. These sets just came out, so there's not a rush for them to give reprints for these sets. However, there is a more of a rush for, you know, Vivid Voltage and Darkness Ablaze, so that they can lower the price cost of everything before their Worlds comes up in August. So, but that's where I say be patient and understand too that there's always going to be opportunities everywhere in these kind of markets. You know, when you were talking about in that kind of bull market, I remember there was sentiment that, you know, you're never going to see below $100 a booster box again. Everything's going to the freaking moon. You heard sentiment as well about basically that I can't find product anywhere. You know, you've got scalpers, and I mean, this is just fact. This isn't even sentiment at this point. And then, you know, people started to go into Japan because English product was too expensive. So it was like just people were scouring for Pokemon product because the demand was so high. And now it's the exact opposite. It's like you've got opportunity here, you've got opportunity there. You can buy this. There's so many, you know, different things that you can invest in, and so many different, you know, strategies to approach it from when you're talking about time frames. And so for that reason, you know, be patient, because if you have a booster box that you really want to invest in but the price isn't there, there's going to be another booster box that's going to be worth investing in later down the line, or currently speaking, and it's much better. Because even if you said to yourself, Eli, would I much rather invest in Evolving Skies versus Brilliant Star? Of course, Evolving Skies, no doubt. But if you told me, Eli, would I much rather invest in Evolving Skies at 160 or Brilliant Star like 105, 110? Of course I'm going to get Brilliant Star 105, 110. Of course, it's not at 105, 110, but there's an expectation, as per my distributor / sales rep, that we're expecting to hear some news relatively soon on or I shouldn't say hear some news, but we're expected to get allocations relatively soon for more Brilliant Stars product in the next couple of weeks. So that's where you have to be patient on these things. And let's say the prices don't drop that much, then that's okay. You're going to find other opportunities in the market because things will go down. Historically, they've gone down. I mean, there's been so much opportunity just within the last 6 to 8 months. So just being patient, waiting for these opportunities. And same thing goes with like grading cards. I mean, PSA, I made a video about it last week, or I made it on Wednesday, not last week, on prices going down for PSA grading. And for myself, it's worth it. If you want to go back and look in depth as to why I think it's worth it, so you can fully understand my sentiment, you can go see that. But for some people that are grading a lot of modern cards, it might not be worth it. And so being patient, understanding that more than likely prices are going to drop down to 20, 25 bucks. And if we're lucky, 15, but I think 20 is more realistic, then, that's where, saving yourself 5, 10, 15 bucks could be worth it for you in the long run, especially if your margins on grading, if you're trying to, medium term flip this, or if you just wanted it to be a part of your collection and still want to save a buck, and when you get it graded is not it's not an issue for you and you're willing to be patient. So that's another thing I think is important to consider. But step number 4, or the fourth kind of strategy that I like to use, and I would say I use this the most, I absolutely love this strategy so much, and it sounds so simple in the grand scheme of things. But like a lot of people don't do it, man. A lot of people don't do it because they're not patient. And that's why, once again, we're building upon the foundations of everything. It's buy in bulk, man. Buy in freaking bulk. If you're telling me right now, Eli, I make an extra $100 a month, an extra $100 a week to spend on Pokemon product, right? You can buy 1 booster box a week. I'm going to tell you, it's much better for you to wait until you can buy a booster case a lot of the times. Because first and foremost, if you buy on my site, for those people that don't know, I had Astral Radiance when it was pre-sale prices. Each booster box was up for $115. Of course, prices have gone down, so people might think this is not a good deal, but the market rate for Astral at the time was around $130, $135. So this is a good deal. This was a good deal at the time. So $115 if you just bought a booster box. If you bought a booster box case, it was $105. I know some other sites do very similar things. Shout out to Beckett Castle. I know they're a site that's known for doing bulk deals. That's something that you can tend to do. I know there's sometimes on TCG Player, you can see opportunities to buy like cases of tins or other items for cheaper, and other sites as well are going to do those discounted deals if you buy more. So honestly, at the end of the day, I think being patient and saving and buying in bulk is something that's a lot better. And I know some people might FOMO because they might say to themselves, well, what if the price goes up within the span of a month, or a month and a half, 2 months, however long it takes? Well, then that's okay, because at the end of the day, once again, being patient, other opportunities will come. It's one of these things where if you can get in at that lower price point and you can save money by buying quantity, and you can save yourself 60, 100, 200 bucks, at the end of the day, that is such a better deal, and that is so much better for your bottom line, especially if you're someone that's trying to flip in the short to medium term. Then you're not going to see as bigger quote unquote of gains as you would long term, because it has less time to mature. And so for that reason, every dollar is going to count to you when it comes to shipping and fees and so on and so forth. So buying in bulk is huge. I do that all the time, even if I'm just not talking about from an investment perspective, but collecting. For those people you probably already know, I'm a huge fan of the Diamond, Pearl, Platinum era. I've been doing a lot of buying of Diamond, Pearl, Platinum packs, and I'm able to get a lot of these packs 20 to 30% under market price. And some of these packs are going for 100, 110, 120, and I'm buying them for as cheap as 70, 80, 90 bucks. And that really just comes down to the fact that I'm able to buy a ton of them in bulk. I'll see people that'll have listings, whether it be on eBay, Facebook, Instagram, wherever it might be, and I'll message them. I'll say, how much of a deal will you give me if I buy all your packs? Because they'll be like, $100 for 1 pack, and they've got 30 of them. I'll be like, I'll buy all 30, which of course, I have more money than most people, I would say, that are going to be using this general strategy of being patient, because I'm able to go in and buy several $1,000s And this is more or less talking from the perspective of several hundred, but I think the point still is made with that. You know what I mean? The point is made to the fact of the matter that, you know, buying in bulk, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. And it doesn't matter because, you know, you could be someone that just has a couple $100s that you want to spend buying in bulk. You could be someone like myself that has a couple $1,000s, or you could be one of the biggest sharks, whales. I know tons of people. I mean, I'm a small fish, man. Like I said before, a couple thousand. I know it sounds like a lot to some people, but for most big time investors, they're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. People like Rudy from Alpha Investments, millions, they're buying in bulk. So, you know, whichever strategy you want to approach it from, buying in bulk, I think that's a really important thing to consider during these times as well, because a lot of sites will be offloading product because they're not able to basically, you know, afford selling it one at a time because it's more expensive to ship, or they're just trying to get rid of product because they really didn't want to take the product, but they had to offload it because they're not trying to get their allocations cut, especially when product is more important now than ever, as, you know, margins start to dwindle, I should say, from online retail. So the next point, and LGS, of course, and then the last and final point, and this is just a general, very, very general important strategy. Have your points in your head on when you're willing to buy and when it's worth it for you. Give yourself a justification as to why, and more specifically, if you have those points, don't be afraid to be patient and not go all in at once and dollar cost average. Now, when I say don't go all in at once, and I know that's a lot, so I'm just going to say basically dollar cost average / find your price point. And so what do I mean by that is, obviously, I talk about the strategy of, once again, building upon that foundation of buying in bulk. Well, if you find that price point for yourself where it's worth it for you to, let's say there's a reprint that happens and a booster box is crashing and you see the price go from 150 to, let's say, 105 or 110. Find that price point where, for you, whether it be from a marginal perspective, if you're trying to flip short to medium term, or from a long term perspective, you want to get in at that price point. And that's the price point you feel the most comfortable getting in at. Be patient. Once you get to that price point, jump in. Just another level of patience. And then for those people that are not in the mindset of having that, okay, I want, you know, one specific point, then have multiple different points. If it goes to 110, I'm going to buy a little. If it goes to 105, I'm going to buy a little. If it goes to 100, I'm going to buy a little. But here's once again where it's important when it comes to your buying in bulk strategy, or, you know, not buying everything basically all at one singular price, and then, you know, slowly buying in later down the line, is because you can still get deals just by saving and just holding off, right? And this once again builds on the foundation of patience. Because let's say, for example, like I said, going back to that strategy, or that general, I shouldn't say strategy, just going back to that general example, if someone has that $100 a week, let's say that Evolving Skies reprint confirmed, and they see that there's a reprint. Price goes down to 130. They put in $100. Price goes down the following week to 120, 115. Put in $100. And then it just keeps going down. Well, instead, if they were patient, if they waited, if they accumulated, not only could they have gotten a better deal by waiting for those price points, and then also waiting to buy in bulk. So it's like that level of patience, that level of finding that price point and understanding that you can save so much money by just having a little bit of patience and having those points. And here's the deal. You can have those points and still dollar cost average. Let's say that you have that point where you're saving up that $100 each and every week. Reprint just happened. 1 week goes from 150 to 130, then goes to 115, then goes to 105. There you go. You got $300 saved up. Sure, you can say it's not enough for a case, but let's say that, you know, at that point it hits one of your price points and you're able to go buy in at that 105, right? And that's a price point that you feel comfortable with. And sure, if you say to yourself, if I save another, 3 weeks, there is a possibility of it going down another $5, going down another $10, but in reality, it's only saved me a couple dollars when I'm already at my price point. Then that's okay of an example for you to not initially buy everything in bulk. The whole point of buying in bulk is being able to find a better deal. But if you can find a really good deal without having to buy in bulk, you don't have to do that. This is a very flexible strategy in kind of ways in which I do things. Like, for example, let's go to TCG Player right now. If we go and see on the TCG Player site, just looking at it up front, 105 for one booster box, 607 for a case. You can just do the math right here. You're saving yourself what? I mean, you're saving yourself basically 25 bucks if you go with the case. Well, if you're saying to yourself, I don't have that money right now to go buy a case at 607, but I have enough to buy 3 Astral Radiance booster boxes, then you can say to yourself, listen, the deal that I'm really saving is, about $5, and you can equate that to buying it at $100. If you're playing the dollar cost averaging game, then it's okay for you to go in at 105, and then when it's your next $100 paycheck, let's say that's that extra you have, if it goes down to $100, then great, you're able to get in at 100. If it doesn't and it just goes sideways, then at that point you can just be patient and you can just wait, and then you can just accumulate, or you can continue to buy at that 105 point. Like I said, these strategies are very flexible. It's just ultimately at the end of the day, the main principles that we're trying to talk about is just looking at different ways to save money, looking at different ways to find opportunities, and just being patient, because when it comes to recessionary periods, this is where the money is made. I know it's more fun to be in a bull market, but in my personal opinion, all the money is made in a bear market. That's where you're going to have these short-term volatility swings. You're going to have these long-term plays that you're going to be able to make, and it's going to be really exciting to buy things at such a great discount. And so personally speaking, I'm very excited to see what's going to be happening with Pokemon prices in the near future. Especially for this main video talking about modern sealed product. So, but just kind of wrapping it up once again, going over the 5 main points, because these build upon each other on their foundations. Find your time frame: medium term, short term, long term. Which one are you? Once you found your time frame, what's the volatility demand of that product that you're looking for? Of course, like I've said before, ETBs, they're better played long term. Booster boxes are better played short term because they're a lot more higher volatility, because there's so many more reprints and there's a higher demand for it. But of course, ETBs will do better long term because of the less print and they're more scarce. And so find that volatility demand and correlate it to your strategy. Next, be patient. Wait for them opportunities, because there's going to be a lot of them during a recessionary period, and you shouldn't FOMO into something because you think that this is the only time you're going to be able to buy this product cheap, or you shouldn't FOMO into something because this is the only good opportunity that you think is available right now to you, because there's going to be tons of opportunities. Of course, number 4, buy in bulk. As I mentioned before when talking about buying in bulk, just being patient once again. Instead of, jumping into a position, try and see if you can save yourself from some money by buying in bulk, whether it be buying Pokemon collections in bulk, whether it be buying just older vintage items in bulk, that, like I've used the example when it came to my Pokemon pack purchases for Diamond and Pearl era stuff, or whether it be to buying a booster box over a booster case, and you can save yourself some money. Of course, if once again that strategy is something that for some people can be a little bit unattainable, which for the most part it should be attainable. You just have to be patient. Dollar cost averaging is going to be the next point of that, where you don't have to necessarily go all in. You can just dollar cost average it as prices going down, but making sure once again you have these price points in mind that you're willing to go in and buy for. At, let's say, for example, Astral Radiance, it's 105. Let's say you can buy it at 90, 95, and then slowly putting more and more money into it as you find a better dollar cost average position for the product that you're invested in, and not just jumping in very much emotionally, and being smart in the way in which you are investing your money. But hopefully you guys all found this video helpful. As always, you want to enter into our weekly giveaways. All you have to do is be subscribed, leave a like, comment down below on any of the pre-recorded videos we have each and every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Of course, we've got 3 opportunities to enter and then 3 opportunities to win, because 3 winners that will each be receiving 12 Astral Radiance booster packs. But hopefully you guys found this video well. As you guys are probably already aware, this is pre-recorded, so I'm currently out of town. I'm going to be coming back on Monday. I'll still have a video for Monday, and then hopefully we can try and get a break here pretty soon for the upcoming following Sunday. So do apologize on some delays of that. But that is all for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you all on Monday. Peace.